But I think you really just have to be prepared to persevere. Mm-hmm. There will always be things that come up that are amazing opportunities, and there will always be things that go terribly, horribly wrong that feel like it's the end. And you really just have to put yourself in that mindset of perseverance. You have to push through. You have to keep showing up.
Welcome back to the Cypress Room, where we dive deep on influencing with integrity. I am Christina Mascari.
And I'm Meggie Honeycutt, and we're so glad you're here.
We're so glad you're here. And if you notice, we are not in the Cypress Room today.
We are not. We are coming to you live from the Haven Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're so excited to be here.
Yeah, so we took Cypress Room on the road, and we're here for the weekend to learn all about content creation and how to make money doing this influencer thing. And we're going to be surrounded by a bunch of our friends and people that we love. And so we decided to get some interviews together. And so we have here our very first interview on the Cypress Room, Miss Katie Scott.
Yes, yay!
Hello.
Welcome. Yes, welcome to the Cypress Room. This is our first time interviewing somebody, and we're so glad it's you.
Yes,
our inaugural interview right here. So just so you guys know a little bit about Katie, she runs a successful brand called Salvaged by K. Scott. She's based out of Canada. Long road to get here in Atlanta. And she is a furniture refinisher that specializes in creating unique and sustainable furniture out of previously discarded pieces. She's dedicated to promoting creativity and resourcefulness in the booming secondhand furniture industry and continuously shares her passion for it on social media. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. That's me.
That's you. And I know you've done podcast interviews before, right? But is this your first in-person interview?
This is my very first face-to-face chit-chat with good friends. So
It's
I'm
really
so excited.
fun. Well, we're so excited to have you here. You're our first interviewee.
Yes.
And I can't think of a better person to have on here because you are my favorite furniture artist. People always ask me that question, and I always say Katie Scott, because you're just color choices, just the way you understand what's going on out with trends and design and everything. Do you have any background in interior design?
I do not. So thank you so much for all of that. No, I don't have any background in design at all. My real world life before I became an entrepreneur was all in retail, customer service, and then human resources. So I don't know. I don't know how I really fell into this whole world, but here I am, and I really love it. So maybe that's what it is.
Well, let's start there. Will you tell us about your first piece of furniture you flipped and why you did it?
Yeah, I think our stories are very similar, and I think that's one of the reasons why we connected at the beginning. I was a stay-at-home mom with two little boys, and we had just moved into this giant house that we couldn't afford. And I really had to fill a lot of spaces on a shoestring budget. So I hit the thrift stores, and then I hit YouTube to look for information on how to make the thrifted pieces look like the stuff that I wanted to buy from the big box stores. And I found you.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I found you. You were one of the very first, you and Jamie Ray Vintage.
Jamie Ray
got me going.
Yeah.
And gave me kind of the basics. And I remember sitting in our living room with a china cabinet that I wanted to turn into kind of a bookcase curio cabinet, and the matching buffet that I wanted to make into our entertainment center, which we still have, by the way. And I sat on the floor with you on my laptop, and you helped me paint through that first piece.
I knew this.
You didn't know
Have
this?
you told me this?
I think I have.
That just okay, well, that blows my mind because I don't know. I just don't. Isn't it weird? Do you still feel like, I don't have anything to teach anybody?
Yeah.
Why do we feel that way about ourselves?
I don't know. But you are the reason that
That's
I
amazing.
got
Oh my
into
gosh.
this business, and you literally sat on the floor with me through that first project.
The This might be the first time I cry in the Cypress Room. I can't believe I haven't yet, but it might be the time.
I'll cry with you.
Yeah.
And it was a gray dresser that you did with Annie Sloan, and you were doing the dark wax, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna dark wax. And I got out my paper plate and my wax brush, and yeah, that was my first piece, and I still have it. I still love it.
And I think like part of more of what we do than actually teaching people like, here's the best technique, here's the best paint. It's really just encouraging people like, you can do this.
You can do
like
it.
anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, I have no background in art. I like almost failed out of art in high school, begged my principal to take me out of that class because I thought I was going to fail.
Yeah.
And so it's just if you literally pick up a paintbrush, I think anybody can paint furniture. Some people are better than others. There's lots of people that are really better than me now.
Sure.
But I feel like I was called on this earth just to encourage people to do things that scare them because you never know what's on the other side of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
So tell us though, how did you go from watching Christina to deciding like, maybe I should get behind the camera and start recording myself doing some of these projects? Like what was that process?
So that part of things didn't happen right away or very quickly. But taking those first couple of pieces that I fumbled my way through into creating my business, Salvage by K. Scott, happened really quickly and really organically. So I did that china cabinet and entertainment center, and my mother-in-law came over and went, "Oh my gosh, you did that? You did that? It's amazing. Like people would pay for that." And then I had another local furniture refinisher see some other little project that I had done, that I'd posted on my personal Facebook page. And she messaged me and said, "Hey, do you mind if I share this? What's your business page so I can tag you?" And I went, "I don't have a business page." So I started my business Facebook page so that she could tag me, because I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. She's famous. She knows what she's doing, and she wants to show her people my work. And yeah, so that encouragement from that other local refinisher and just my friends and family stopping by, and just the joy that I got out of those first few projects really made me think, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. So I just kept going to the thrift stores and buying little things, little coffee tables, little benches, just really small stuff, and playing around with it. And then I would pop it up on Facebook Marketplace for $20 or $50, and people kept buying them within a few hours or a few days. So that part of it grew really quickly. And then I found Instagram, which I hadn't been on before. And I found this incredible community on Instagram of all these other stay-at-home moms that were just like me, or working moms that were just like me, that were doing the same thing, and just finding such joy in it. So that's where the social media aspect came from. And then a few years later, I finally thought, I'm going to be just like Christine Muscati.
Yes.
Well,
I'm going to do
as
it.
you're talking about Instagram, this is how I met Katie, you guys, because I was introduced to Katie not by her amazing, beautiful furniture, which I eventually found, but Katie is always such an encourager of other refinishers. And to the flaw that she got flagged by Instagram, they thought she was a bot because she likes, comments, shares, like every single thing that comes across her plate. Y'all, even if your stuff is terrible and you're just starting out, she sees the gold in you and like where it can go. And she got banned on Instagram because they thought she was a bot. And so I kept seeing all like, oh, save Katie Scott's account, Katie Scott's account. I'm like, I don't even know Katie Scott. Who is this person? So she created a second account and was sharing her story about how, well, I'm shut down. And I'm like, free Katie Scott. Like, what can I do? It was, I don't know. Did you have 90210 in Canada?
Yes.
Okay, so 90210, when it was Katie Scott, you know, Donna Martin graduates, it was like, Katie Scott gets her Instagram back. We're all going to boycott until she gets it back. And you eventually did get it back.
I did get it back.
But it was kind of glitchy after all of that.
I did get it back, but it was right as they were changing things a lot.
Okay.
I think it was like they were still playing with the idea of Reels. It wasn't like Reels wasn't a thing yet, but you could post video content. And I didn't have access to any of those features. And so I was stuck. I couldn't do any of the things to grow my brand. So I ended up creating another account without the dot. I had Katie salvaged by K. Scott, and then my new account, my current account is just salvaged by K. Scott, and that has just taken off. So yeah, I totally blocked that.
Oh my gosh, that's how I found you. And then I just then I got to see your furniture and I'm like, oh my gosh, this lady is the real deal. I need to follow her. And then, so when did you start your YouTube channel and all of that process?
So I just looked this up because I was thinking it's been a couple of years. So I just looked it up and it was July 9th, 2019. So it's been almost exactly 4 years. I just missed my 4-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
And where are you at in subscriber count these days?
I think I just passed 275.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
incredible.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Well, and I
Wild is a
know
good word.
it was a long journey for you to do I want to do YouTube? Can I get monetized on YouTube? So I know that story. So I kind of want you to share that with our viewers out there.
So YouTube, I got into creating YouTube content so I could share all of the answers to the questions that I kept getting on Instagram. So, you share something on Instagram and it's just a picture or it's just a 30 or 60 second snapshot. And there's so much detail that happens behind the scenes that even on YouTube and long form content, you just can't squeeze it all into a video. So that was kind of the driving force behind YouTube, was to be able to share this thing that I was so passionate about and kind of deep dive into it a little bit more, and have somewhere to send people that were asking me questions on Instagram. And I posted my first video in July 2019, and it's terrible. It's still there.
I hope it's still there. I hope you didn't take it down.
It's still there. It's awful. And I have to leave it there so that I can go back and remind myself of
how
my
far you've
humble
come.
beginnings.
Welcome.
Yeah, and I had this idea because you had just started, I think, full-time, or were ramping up with that. And Jamie Ray, of course, Jamie and Zeb post 3 or 4 times a week, which is insane. So I had started thinking, I'm just going to vlog through my daily life, and I'll just have a camera there and I'll keep doing what I'm doing, without realizing the time, the time that it takes to do that. So I started with the intention of 3 or 4 videos a week, which very quickly turned into 1 video a week, which very quickly turned into 1 video every couple of months.
Okay.
And it wasn't really doing anything, which wasn't the point when I first started, but it's kind of discouraging when you put so much time and effort into a project and it's just kind of sitting there and the world isn't seeing it. And the people that are seeing it on YouTube sometimes aren't so kind. So getting some of that unkind feedback, and just not seeing any real growth in that thing that was taking so much of my time and so much of my heart to create, I kind of just let it go for a little while. And then March 2020 happened, which is when the world kind of stopped turning. And I started to see an uptick. And by May of 2020, I had 1 video that totally took off. And I went, oh my gosh, I need to pick up my camera. I need to get back out into the garage. I had still been flipping furniture.
So you weren't filming it. Were you kind of taking a break from YouTube at that point?
I'd kind of given up on it. I thought, it's not for me.
Do you remember when you posted that video?
The first video that
really took off,
did anything, I think was in March. I think it was in March 2020, but it was a few months after that. So I had forgotten about it. I had posted it, forgotten about it, given up on YouTube. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And that really lit a fire under me that, you need to get back to it. And people were asking the questions that I had anticipated when I started. So I went, okay, this is it. They're here. They found me. And I just picked right back up where I left off. And you messaged me to give me some support and let me know that you saw me, which was, again, another fire.
Yeah.
And I've just been hanging on by the seat of my pants ever since.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
But now when you look back on that season, do you see it I mean, obviously you probably see it differently than when you were in the midst of it, but it's almost like you had that time of preparation where you were sort of hidden in the shadows so that when the world did shut down, you had already done all the practice, gotten the terrible videos out of the way.
Absolutely.
So that when people finally were stuck at home ready to refinish furniture, you were practiced up and ready to go.
Yeah, I was ready for them when they were ready for me. So it's very
cool.
serendipitous, the whole thing.
That's so awesome. So tell us a little bit, because I really love your design aesthetic and color choices.
Thank you.
Like, what's the inspiration behind them? Is it always your own personal style, or do you follow trends, or kind of tell us where your inspiration comes from?
Yes. So I realized very early on that I was not interested in doing what other people wanted me to do on the furniture.
I can see that in you. I can see that in real life and in furniture.
I wasn't interested in it, and it gave me such anxiety just even thinking about taking on custom work or trying to live up to someone else's expectation and having the responsibility of making what they had in their mind come to life on a piece of furniture just terrified me. So custom furniture refinishing was never part of the business. I think I opened that up once or twice for a week or two. I think I've only done
Quickly found out it was not for you.
I just not that I ever had a chance to fail at it. The anxiety that came from the opportunity to fail at it was enough to scare me away. So my design aesthetic has always just been what I want to do. And I try and use the piece of furniture that's in front of me because I get such a wide variety of styles and conditions and materials. I try and let that kind of play a role in it, but I don't know. The answer is I don't know where my aesthetic comes from.
I'm gonna pull this out of you because it's in there. I'm gonna pull it out of her. Like, when you see a piece of furniture in front of you, do you get like a vision in your head?
See, I used to. If you had have asked me last year, I would have said absolutely yes. This year, I feel like I'm just at a point in my journey where that's kind of gone away, and I don't know if it's going to come back, but I find myself planning more. So I'll see a piece of furniture, and I know that it has potential and it could be something, but I don't get that instantaneous, I'm going to paint that green that I used to. It's
Do you think that
evolving.
just changes because of how long you've done it? Do you think it's
I think that plays a role in it. And I also think because of where my business is on social media, I think I have so many exterior factors now. I have so many voices coming from comments and analytics and all that stuff that it's kind of clouding that aspect for me. So I don't know.
Okay. And are you currently selling your furniture?
I am doing a little bit of a mix.
Okay.
So I started out selling. That was a great sort of side hustle for our family that was really successful. I've never had a problem selling stuff just on Facebook Marketplace. Things have always sold really quickly for me on Facebook Marketplace.
That's because you're very good.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you.
Not everybody has that. I won't say luck because it's not luck, but that's not the case for everybody.
I know it's tough. And I've done it for years and years. So I know how hard it is and how discouraging it is when a piece doesn't sell right away, especially when it's something that you've put so much time and energy and a piece of your soul into, and someone doesn't see that right away. So I get that. But I did stop selling once YouTube kind of picked up to the point where I could afford to stop selling, because we had always lived off of my husband's income. Well, since the kids were born and I decided to stay home, we'd lived off of my husband's income. So the furniture stuff was extra. So that extra got replaced by YouTube ad revenue, and I thought, this is perfect. I don't have to put the time into selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
And strangers don't have to come to my home.
Exactly.
I won't say weird people. I'll say strangers.
Exactly. We did have one incident that kind of put me onto this course. We had someone that followed me on YouTube find a post on Marketplace and drive 2 hours to our home. And it was awkward and inappropriate. I'll just leave it at that. It was awkward and inappropriate. So that was a big contributing factor, and it really made me reevaluate the sales side of things. And I decided, you know what, I can afford to do it. I'm just going to donate all of these pieces that I'm working on. And I never really did it in a formal way, but I would just flip things and then take them back to the restore where I picked them up for Habitat for Humanity, or I had a big network of moms in our school. So if I knew someone needed something, it would go to them. Or if they knew someone that needed some help, it would go to them. So that happened for a few years, but now we've moved across the country. My husband is now actually working for me for my business officially.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
is
that.
huge.
That is so cool.
Mr. Salvaged is on board.
Mr. Salvaged. He needs his own Instagram.
He does.
He started a YouTube channel and posted one video and gave up because it was too much work.
No, Doug, we need you.
Yes.
You should get on him.
Okay, I'm going to get on that video and leave a comment.
You get on him.
Okay.
So now we're all in as a family. So we have,
That's awesome.
I have started,
That is
I'm still
awesome.
donating as much as I can, back to mostly Habitat for Humanity seems to be the charity that works into my life the easiest. But we are selling the occasional piece as well. So
Okay, you
it's a
should be,
mix.
because you could make money off of them.
Yeah.
And if you decide to
Yeah,
donate that
for
money,
sure.
great.
I have an
If you
employee
decide
I need to
keep it-
pay now.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do have an employee.
Well, that's what I want to know a little bit more about that, because, you started off for the joy of it, and how, when it does become a business and now your family's income source, how do you keep the joy in it when there's, other pressures, I
Yeah.
guess, and how do you move through the times when you feel burnout and you just, simply don't want to do it?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a solution, because that's currently where I am. I'm in
Yeah.
that space of burnout, and kind of the fog with design choices and the pressure of having to keep up with everything. And if they introduce another social media platform,
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
great.
we're going to have issues, because
Yeah.
there's too many things going on in too many places. But that is something that I'm dealing with, and I'm having to kind of take a step back. I've decided after Haven, I'm taking the rest of the summer off to kind of decompress. I'm going to put the
Good for
laptop
you.
away.
Good for
I'm
you.
going
Good
to
for
put my
you.
phone down, and just spend time with my family, being me and not being this business. I know you talked on your last episode about Mike telling you have to close the laptop. So that's where we're at right now. It's constant. I work 24/7.
Yeah.
My laptop or my phone is always going. So I'm at a point now where I have to take a minute. And I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm hopeful that, like the rest of my business, it will organically find a way.
Yes.
And just work through it.
Yeah, and this is just reminding me too, like Katie is the biggest person I feel that like understands me, because I think we both get to this a lot, and luckily it happens usually at different seasons where I'm just having such a hard time, and I will text her and be like, it'll be this long, and I'll be like, I just need to get this out. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I want to just quit. I just want to be a mom, or I just want to go volunteer at the school. And then like, I think about it, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But you like get it, like in your core, in your
Yeah.
soul, and like everything you're saying right now. I'm like, I get that. Like, I resonate with it. And I'm so glad that we have this friendship and that we have each other, because your work is so important and what you do is so important. And it's not like who you are, but just you're so important, like in the world, and to the people that you encourage and the art that you put out there. So I'm just glad that I can be here when you're burnt out and be like, I get it. Take a break.
It
take
actually
a
made
break.
me cry.
Take a break, but like come back, and I'm going to be here to
Yeah.
support you when you come
Yeah.
back.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'll be
like,
back. I
and
can't give up on
to
it
be
now.
able to have people that it's like, you don't have to hustle, Katie. Like, you don't have to hustle. Your
Yeah.
art, you're right where you need to be, and like your channel's not going anywhere. Your followers aren't going anywhere, and it's because of like who you were when you had no followers. You
Right.
commented and you
Yes.
encouraged, and like you're a good person and you're extremely talented. So like take that break and take care of your family and take care of yourself, and it's all going to be there when you get back.
Yes. And
Yeah.
not only that, I think you're a super smart business person who you've really diversified where your income streams are coming from, so that you are able to take some breaks and it's not just zero coming in.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, because I think you're unique in your success on Facebook, especially. So I'd love to hear just kind of your journey with like diversifying, how you're spending your time, where you're putting your content, and where like your revenue sources.
Yeah. So I started with Facebook and Instagram in a very small way. And then YouTube, the success of YouTube and being monetized on YouTube was a very long journey. And I more than once almost just deleted my whole channel. But once that did start producing sort of a steady revenue, that was my business. I decided to give up the revenue stream that came from selling furniture. So that was my focus for a while. But then about 18 months ago, I got an email from a media company reaching out to me asking if they could repurpose my Facebook content. And I was very skeptical because there are so many scams.
Yeah.
And we've
Have you run into a lot of them?
We've both had instances with companies that said they were going to do something and then nothing came of it. But I reached out to a few other creators who had some success on Facebook and asked them their thoughts, and they said, well, it's worth a conversation. So I had that conversation with that media company and felt confident enough to give them access to my Facebook page. I honestly didn't even realize that you could monetize Facebook.
Neither did I.
I think a lot of people
nobody knows.
Like,
it's
Facebook
this little
is
secret.
a hidden like opportunity for a lot of creators that they don't.
And I would say, I don't know about you, but I know my audience is I have a huge audience that is 50 plus.
Yes.
And those people are on
They're on
Facebook, and they have money and they have time and they're watching videos.
For sure.
Absolutely. So I think on YouTube, my goal was always to focus the audience and the content around my peers and a little bit younger. But I've realized that it's not. It's the people that are coming up on retirement or already retired that are trying to fill their time with things, and those people are on Facebook. And Facebook monetizes their video content just like YouTube does. They put ads in the content and you get ad revenue just like YouTube does. And it's a dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about.
It's true.
But it's a huge cash cow. So this media company did what they said they were going to do. They made my existing business Facebook page meet all of the criteria for Facebook, which I think they change it all the time. But I think right now you have to have 10,000 followers on a business page. It can't be a personal page. And you have to have... There's some criteria for watch hours, and you have to have at least 5 videos posted to your Facebook page to be eligible for monetization. So they got me to that point, and they took all of my YouTube videos. So it was about 2.5 years worth of YouTube content and re-edited it. That's a funny word.
Yeah.
Down to a Facebook friendly format that they knew worked well on Facebook. And it took off.
Yeah, yours really took off.
Like
millions of views,
I
right?
got a phone call after the first 4 videos went up saying, this is not normal.
I love it.
And we had a boomer of a year last year, and it really was life-changing. So now my income comes from Facebook is probably my top earner.
That's insane.
That is insane.
And nobody's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about it. I'm talking about it. I've had a few creators that I'm so excited to meet that are going to be here soon.
Awesome.
That I've been talking to in DMs that are also having really good success.
You need to teach a class on Facebook next year.
I don't want anybody to know about it.
Oh, she doesn't want anybody to know. But I will tell you, I'm doing the same thing that Katie's doing, and mine has not taken off the way that yours has. So
it does. It ebbs and flows.
But the thing is that it's possible.
It is absolutely
that's what
possible.
we're here telling you what has worked for us. And we're not saying if you do everything that we do, this is what's going to happen. But like, you took a chance and it paid off. And I'm like, I'm going to do that too. And it hasn't paid off the way that yours has paid off, but it is like a little bit of income. That's just
something.
another additional income stream.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, are you still working with the company, or at some point were you able to take ownership of it and keep it going?
Yeah,
Just yourself?
we have just taken it back, and that's where Mr. Salvaged
Mr.
comes
Salvage.
in.
Is he editing?
He is not editing.
Okay.
I am editing. So right now we've got all of the old stuff is already done and out there. So every time I create a new YouTube project, I take an extra hour and edit it into that kind of 3-minute
workflow.
Facebook friendly. So it's not really a huge time sucker for me. And then I just pop it into a Google Drive, and he's responsible for all of the scheduling and reporting and keeping track of all the behind the scenes stuff with Facebook. So yeah.
Very cool.
That is so cool. I think people are missing out on
Facebook. It's
possibility.
Facebook is not sexy. It's not
No,
the
it
it
is not.
thing.
I've seen,
but it is steady.
it is steady, and it does have the ebbs and flows, just like YouTube. I know you talk about the summer in YouTube. Nobody's watching furniture flipping in the summer, because everybody's out at the pool having fun with their kids. So that's a slower season for us. And Facebook has the same kind of Christmas is nobody's furniture flipping videos at Christmas. So, but yeah,
That's so cool.
that's that.
Now you are coming to us from Canada, but
Canada.
The great white
Is that
north.
right?
Yes.
am I
Is that how it
wrong?
goes?
I
Very
believe
good.
your audience is mostly U.S. Correct?
Very much so.
So, are you scheduling filming content with that in mind, or do you just still you do you and Americans just happen to love it? And it's with products that are available in the U.S. Like, tell us how. No, okay.
No. So I think the biggest thing that I've realized is that the population of the United States is somewhere like 340 million Americans.
Yeah.
Canada just in the last couple of weeks has passed the 40 million mark.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Population.
I did not know
I didn't know that either.
So that's like 300 million more people.
Right.
So yeah, my audience on all of my platforms is very heavily weighted towards the U.S. Just because there's so many more of y'all.
so many of us down here.
But yeah, I don't have access to the products that you guys have down here, so I couldn't tailor it if I wanted to.
Is there a way for you, like on your, I'm assuming you have an Amazon affiliate
I do.
shop set up. So everything you have on there is Canada. And if people from America click on there, like you don't get any credit for that.
So I have to have two of everything.
Two of everything, okay.
So the way that it works is a lot of brands like Amazon, there's Amazon.com and there's Amazon.ca.
Okay.
And it's the same for Home Depot.
Wow.
Ryobi's another one. Wagner.
Oh, wow.
I have to have two of everything. So I have an Amazon storefront for Amazon.com and I have an Amazon storefront for Amazon.ca. And I did try for a little while to make sure I was linking to both, and I've just given up on that because I don't have time for the monetary payoff that it results in. But yeah, that's definitely a hurdle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't correlate on both sides of the borders. Like I've used Varathane Diamond wood finish as a top coat forever. You guys don't have that here. You have Varathane Ultimate water-based polyurethane, which
Are they different?
They're different because one is Varathane in the U.S. and one is Varathane in Canada. So
they're just made by
Rust-Oleum makes them.
at different facilities.
They have the same CEOs at the top, I guess, but they are two separate companies that operate separately that have
This
separate
is so
products.
wild. I didn't
Separate
think it ran this
manufacturing.
deep.
Yeah.
It's like the candy I brought you.
I can't wait. She
Yeah,
brought
I
us some chocolate from Canada, and she said it's so
Nestle
much
and
better than
Hershey's
here.
is
I can't
not the
wait.
same.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait. I'm really excited.
Not the
I'm really
same.
excited. Well, and so even though, and we've talked about this before and we disagree on it, but it's still okay. We're still friends. I'm like, Katie, you need to spend more time on your American audience and be linking to American products and get American companies to ship you stuff up there because it's a bigger audience and you can make more money. And she's like, but I'm Canadian and my neighbor can't go get that. I'm not putting it on my channel. And I was like, okay, like I have to that's your stance and that's what you believe.
Yes.
And I think that's great. So
Yes.
you're saying I care more about my country and my neighbor neighbors and the people
We are a very loyal
than
people.
I do about making money. So I'm like, all
love
right,
that.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
I can definitely respect that.
That's a decision I made pretty early on.
Yeah.
And every time I have a brand deal that I find isn't available, someone reaches out with something and I have to go Google it and see if they ship to Canada or if I can purchase it in Canada. I have you in the back of my head saying, just take the deal. But yeah, I've decided if I can't go to the store and buy it, or if I can't have it shipped to my house, I can't promote that on my channel. So it hurts the pocketbook a little bit, and it's been disappointing a few times, but it's something that I feel is important for me and the integrity of my channel.
So do you, since you've had such success with Facebook and you have had such success, why can't I say that word, with income streams from your content, I feel like I do lots of brand deals and that has just worked for me and I like doing them and companies like doing them with me. Is that like a smaller portion of your business? And is that strictly because of the Canada America thing, or do you just not enjoy doing them?
I don't love doing them most of the time. Again, it goes back to my anxious nature.
Okay.
It's a lot of pressure to have to live up to someone else's expectations. It's a great opportunity. I just don't find that I don't think I get as many opportunities as you do. Like I don't see as many inquiries, I feel like, as you do, because Meggie isn't working with me yet.
Meggie's out there hustling for me. Although we have stated many times on this podcast that it's been very dry this year. But luckily we do diversify and we have multiple income streams. So as like the Instagram and TikTok stuff for me has been down, but we've gotten 2 deals this year on TikTok that paid really well.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's worth me. Like, I'm not very good at TikTok and I'm not on there every day, but like the 2 deals that we got, I'm like, wow, you can get some good money on TikTok deals.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep being on TikTok.
Yeah. And that's so funny because I've only done one brand partnership on Instagram, because Instagram and TikTok for me now are kind of just extra.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the marketing, and that's where I'll put links to bring them back to Facebook or YouTube. But yeah, I haven't had anybody reach out with opportunities on those platforms.
Yeah. And what we're seeing is that these companies want you to make the content, but they really don't care that much about your audience, and they really don't care about the organic reach anymore. They basically just want you to make a commercial and then they boost it and license it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I'm fine with that.
You're a paid actor. It's okay if they're willing to
I'll
pay
write a
for
script.
it.
I'll come up with the concept. And that's something that I've always done. Like before I did furniture flipping, I was in marketing. So I had done scripts before and I had done video shoots. So like to me, I kind of we like figuring out, well, how can we make this fit my brand? And it's almost like a puzzle and like a challenge. So we have enjoyed doing those.
Yeah, those are fun. But this year too, it's like they care a lot about link click-throughs and stories.
And it's very hard I think it's personally really hard to get link click-throughs on Reels and TikToks because all of those platforms just want to keep people scrolling. And so anytime you say link in bio or whatever, they're just
they don't show it.
They squash it.
They don't want people to go actually buy something. So I understand like the disconnect right now between brands and influencer marketing, because they have to be able to show their CEO like the bottom line, like, hey, we spent all this money on marketing influence, but we can't tell you what they sold. I mean, that's not good.
But also I feel like, gosh, if you're having that much success on Facebook, I mean, I never see brands want to partner on Facebook content, but it seems like that would be a big opportunity for you if your videos get millions of views on there. But I don't ever see brands even concerned.
I've never had anyone reach out. I always put it in when I'm negotiating. I always put it, hey, this is,
you have millions of views on Facebook.
These are my Facebook analytics. My reach is amazing. My audience is amazing.
They're
huge
engaged
numbers.
on Facebook
But
too. It's an engaged
the brands don't ever seem to be interested in that. So we'll see. We'll see how it changes, because it is always
a year from now
evolving.
you could be telling us something
very
totally
true.
different. That's just the nature of content creation.
I feel like, yes,
right?
it's constantly changing.
You got to be flexible.
Maggie and I had a 7-hour drive yesterday. It was only supposed to be 4 hours, but it took us 7 to get here. And we talked about so much. We're like, can you think about where we were last year and the type of deals that we were doing, the type of content that we were like, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
I think you have to be so flexible.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this, just as long as I have, pretty full time since 2019.
Yeah.
So what's your encouragement to someone out there that is really thinking about content creation, has kind of started, what is your advice or encouragement for someone to be successful in the long haul? Because you've been through a lot.
I have been through a lot, and I think it's important, if you feel called to share what you're doing, what you're passionate about online, you need to prepare yourself for the negative feedback that comes with that, because as humans, negativity is just sort of something that's in the fold, as nasty as it is. But I think you really just have to be prepared to persevere. Mm-hmm. There will always be things that come up that are amazing opportunities, and there will always be things that go terribly, horribly wrong that feel like it's the end, and you just want to curl up and hide. Not to scare people, but that's just the reality. That's life, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the same in business. I think you really just have to put yourself in that mindset of perseverance. You have to push through. You have to keep showing up, and be realistic with yourself. If it's not realistic for you to post a new reel every day, don't make that a goal.
Yeah.
If you're for us in furniture flipping, the creating of the content takes a full week because we're waiting for stuff to dry.
If not longer, if you decide that you want to strip a piece back.
Exactly.
Oh, I can get this done in 2 days.
It's very
2 weeks later.
Consuming. It's a very time-consuming niche that we're in. So you just have to be realistic and really sit down and think about, what can I do that's not going to disrupt my life, and just really be consistent with that and keep going. You just have to keep pushing through.
But I think it's hard for people to do that if they don't find joy in what they're doing.
Absolutely.
If they're, I think that's the difference with each of you. How you started is it was very organic. You were just doing something you loved, and then you decided to film it.
Yeah.
I think now so many people see content creation as let me think of something that might work, and then do it and make a full-time job out of it, which I'm not saying that can't work, but the road is certainly more challenging if you're not doing something that you enjoy, that brings you joy, and that's fun for you, right? Yeah. So I think that is the difference in both of you two, is that you really loved it and just decided to film it, and then it became this thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you did persevere through the hard times, through the haters, through all of it.
And I still love it. I don't know if you feel the same, but as hard as it can be sometimes to push yourself through a project when you don't feel like being creative, you don't feel like filming everything. When you get to the end and you get that shot and you're like, oh, I made that.
That's
so
it.
cool.
Right
it still gets me. That's what gives me just enough. No matter how hard it gets, there's still enough in there to start on the next one. So.
And I think a huge part of your success too is just you've always been authentically you.
Yes.
And I even sat down today with Katie. I said, "Now, Katie, we're rated clean, so no cursing today. But I understand that you're spicy, and I want you to be you, and I want you to feel comfortable, so we can bleep and post edit. We can do it.
Oh, that's good.
But
you are good.
Yeah,
you're spicy with soft edges, I think.
I know she is, but I just love that you don't try to be anybody else. You'd never tried to fit a mold or do trends, and you've always just been yourself and just showed up and I think encourage other people, even if you don't know that you're doing that. So I love that. I love it.
I love it too. I love that
my Canadian
everything
friend,
you put out
so
in
much.
the world, and I hope it all comes back to you tenfold.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, this was so much fun.
Yes, it
having
was.
you here. And I feel like we could talk for another hour.
Of course, we will.
And we will after
off
this,
camera.
off camera. And you guys don't get to see all the spiciness, but it's there. So if you guys do not follow Katie, I'm sure you probably do, but find her on Facebook, find her on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We will put all her information in the description box.
Yes.
If you have any questions for her, leave them down in the comments. We'll get them to her.
Yes.
We know where she lives. We have her phone number. We have
I creep your comments.
She'll creep in the comments and she'll come in and message them. But we're just so grateful
Yes,
that you
thank
were our
you.
first ever guest. And I think it was amazing.
I do too. So much wisdom. I love your heart to encourage other people. And yeah, I loved it. It was so fun.
Yay.
So we will see you next time on the Cypress Room. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time in the Cypress Room.